Hello? Hello? Am I speaking to Miss Tolles? Yeah. Yes.
We've only ever had used.
Francois, who in the chair? I clearly missed the announcement. Is the judge coming? We got judge today?
That is hilarious. Let me text him. What's his name again? God, that's what's his name talking. Oh, Tucson, that's right.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry I'm running a few minutes late.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge. Whenever you're ready, we're gonna start with position number 8 with Mr. Minor.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I am Judge Regina Mincy, and this is the State Court Expedited Accusations calendar for Friday, July the 29th, 2022. This is a calendar for cases in which individuals have been recently arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused these cases of the offenses brought against them. And these cases have been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's first time before a state court judge, so we are able to address certain matters if they are right for today, including bond, possible arraignment, or consideration of a possible plea offer, if one has been made by the state at this juncture. I'll also be providing you with an reset date for arraignment or the state all-purpose. What is that reset date?
The reset date is going to be August the 11th, Your Honor.
All right, August the 11th is our SAP date. So I'm going to begin, excuse me, and advise everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube. And you do have certain constitutional rights. Those who are defendants on this calendar, you have the right to remain silent. Remember that anything that you state about the facts or the occurrences of your case can and will be held against you. Govern yourselves accordingly and listen to your attorneys. All right, we're starting with position number 8.
Are you waiting for me, Your Honor?
Yes, hold on 1 quick second.
That was wrong. That last chat was not for you, Judge. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
But the first one was.
All right. This is case number 22 CR 005013G. Is it Desan Minor charged with 1 count of giving false information to law enforcement, actually 2 counts, and criminal trespass with the offense date of July 28, 2022. Pretrial.
We got 14 total. History out of Illinois and Georgia. Last arrest was 2020, shoplifting. Well, December
Right.
2020. June 2020, shoplifting. July 2018, misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Last arrest out of Illinois, 2018, failure to appear.
And is this Mr. Walker or Miss King?
It will be me, Your Honor. Good
You heard
afternoon.
enough? Judge, you heard enough history? Can y'all hear me?
I can hear
Now
you.
I can.
Oh, okay.
Something went wrong with mine too. So, okay, now I can hear you. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, okay. Go ahead, Miss King.
I think pretrial wasn't finished yet.
I'm sorry. Yes,
You can
my
go,
volume.
King.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, pretrial. My volume went out for some reason.
I gave you the Georgia history. I'm gonna give you the Illinois history.
Okay, thank you.
Last arrest in Illinois was failure to appear, 2018. 2018 battery, 2 counts. He had a resisting officer. That was a conviction. From 2017. He had an ag battery and a charge called mob action. I don't see the disposition for the mob action, but the ag battery was dismissed. He had an obstructing identification from 2016, resisting peace officer 2016, 2015 battery and obstructing identification, and a 2015 battery. That's it.
All right. Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. I also like to note for the court, this defendant has a criminal history under Xavier Ray Dickinson. Some of his convictions are under that name, which tie into this case where he gave officers incorrect information upon being detained as well. This case occurred yesterday. He was at the Hilton Hotel located at 1031 Virginia Avenue in Hateville. He was seen at the bar of the location, and he actually had a credit card on his possession that belonged to someone else. How the hotel found out was the owner of that credit card called the hotel saying that he lost his card in the hotel, and that was the card that that defendant was attempting to use. He also used that card in the hotel for the amount of $621.57 for an actual room in the hotel. We have not moved forward with those yet due to in some investigative issues, but we intend to move forward on the charges for that card. Now, the charges before Your Honor today involve a driver's license that he provided to the officers and information he provided to the officers upon being detained. It was for someone else's name and date of birth is what he provided to the officers. Furthermore, when it was discovered that he was using that fraudulent credit card, he was asked to leave the premises and he refused, which is where the criminal trespass stems from. This defendant does not have strong ties to the community. He has just as strong of a criminal history out of Illinois as he has out of Georgia. Furthermore, that Illinois criminal history is fairly recent. From 2017 is his last conviction there. For that reason, Your Honor, the state is requesting a $3,000 surety. That's $1,000 for each charge. A stay away from the Hilton Hotel located at 1031 Virginia Avenue in Hateville, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Minor is 25 years old, and he says he moved from Illinois about 2 years ago. He does not have any family members. However, he has a job as a caterer. He's been working as a caterer for the last 2 years, and he graduated from high school, and he really likes staying here in Georgia. Other than that, this incident happened with a false information. We would like to request for signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of his previous past history in Illinois, we would like to request for maximum $500 surety bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to order a $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order that Mr. Minor stay away from the Hilton Hotel at 1031 Virginia Avenue in Hateville, that he have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that's all I need to take up. Is it counsel 3,000 surety bond, which is 1,000 on each charge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
And Your Honor, sorry to interrupt. Is it possible we could do position 5 next? I have a private attorney who has a conflict coming up very shortly.
Okay.
His client
Deputy,
is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Deputy, are we able to take up
His
position
client's
5?
actually not in Fulton. He's in Twigg County, but he's waiving his client's presence, is my understanding, but I will let Attorney Hilliard speak to that.
Okay. Did you file a waiver? Good afternoon, Mr. Hilliard. How are you?
You're muted, Ms. Attorney Hilliard.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Yes, I did file a waiver and an entry appearance earlier today.
Okay.
So just to give you a little procedural posture, this was the individual that was picked up on a bench warrant for a DUI, I think back in 2018. Usually there's a bond that's preset with that bench warrant. In this particular case, there was no bond fit, so we thought it was appropriate instead of us sending the sheriffs to Twig County and they come back here and then wait for the SAP, we're just going to take care of it today. So with that being said, the proposed consent order includes the following conditions: to complete a risk reduction course, to complete ADET, to complete a MAD victim impact panel. Defendant shall not drive except for purposes of employment, medical, or legal, no alcohol or drugs, report to pretrial services once a month, and random screens. I know that might not be the typical conditions you would see on your on a DUI, but the defendant does have some history, and me and counsel have spoke about these conditions, and we both agree upon, and we just ask that the court sign off on it at this time.
All right. Let me call this case real quick just to put that on the record. This is 18 CR 006944G, State versus Timothy Jason Harris, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And I have opposing counsel, or defense counsel rather, which is Mr. Hakeem Hilliard. He's entered an appearance and a waiver that have been filed with the court, and this is a consent bond order. And what was the amount, counsel? I don't think I heard.
It was $2,000 signature bond on each count through pretrial services.
Okay. All right, and we are going to sign, or the court rather will sign this consent order between counsel. It says 2 counts of DUI, let's say. The offense date is April the 8th, 2017. I think you said 18, 17, but I have on the record. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. And so I will sign that order when you send it over for $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. And that's 1,000 on each, correct?
No, it's 2,000 on each. So
Oh,
it's 4,000
2,000
total signature bond.
I'm sorry about that. So the consent order is a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial, 2,000 on each charge. And I believe pretrial heard those terms, RR, DEP, VIP.
And this is per judge. This would be per judge.
Per judge, yes, per judge. No driving except for employment, medical, and legal, to come to court to see his attorney, random screens. All right, did I leave out anything?
No, Your Honor, I do not believe so. I've already sent a copy of the order to you. We would like to reset this case to next Thursday, August the 4th, for a non-jail plea calendar.
All right, anything else you need to take up, Mr. Hilliard?
No, Your Honor, thanks very much for taking me out of order here. Thank you very much.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Next, Judge, we have position 1, Mr. Barnes.
Okay. This is case number 22 CR 005007E is an elephant. This is Jeffrey Barnes, charged with 1 count of simple battery, offense date January the 19th, 2022. Pre-trial.
This first. Did you get my email?
I got your email.
Okay.
Yes, I have your email. Thank
Okay.
you. All right, first arrest.
Yes.
Okay, and looks like I have Miss Backus and Miss McLeod. You're representing Mr. Barnes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Miss Is it Backus or Bacchus?
Bacchus.
Bacchus. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Your Honor, this incident occurred on January 19th, as you said. The victim, Mr. Dwayne Love, went to the Atlanta Public Safety Headquarters to report a battery. Mr. Love stated that he was hired as a plumber by the defendant to work on a job at the defendant's home. The address is 765 Stovall Boulevard Northeast in Atlanta. While he was completing the job, he got into a disagreement with the defendant and said that the defendant pushed him several times and wrestled him to the ground. There were 2 witnesses to this incident. That was the defendant's stepson, Pedro Williams, and an individual named Rob, who was on the property contracted as an electrician. And so he saw the incident as well. Our office was able to speak with the victim. And he basically just said that the defendant refused to pay him. And then he started an argument. And the victim stated that the defendant started to grab him and kind of snatch him and pull him around. And he hasn't had any contact with the defendant since then. He should be on Zoom today if Your Honor wants to sound for him. This is the first arrest, Your Honor. But based on the nature of the incident, the state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, a no further contact with the victim, Mr. Dwayne Love, and a one-day anger awareness course. And nothing further.
All right. I do see Mr. Love on the Zoom call. Ms. McLeod, would you like to go before or after the victim?
After.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. I see you,
Can
Mr.
y'all hear me?
We can. Mr. Love, do you wish to address the court today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, raise your right hand for me. I'm going to swear you in. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, put your hand down. What would you like to tell me regarding this incident?
It was just, you know, a matter of finishing up a job that we had, me giving him a service and getting paid for. And he's quick to anger. So the anger management, it sounds great. That's what he needs. And this is a civil suit, so it has nothing to do with the money that's owed. But in that, I mean, I think he do need some anger management. That's about all.
Are you in fear? Are you in fear of Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any more work that you will need to do at that location?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so your work is complete.
Yes. I would
Okay.
imagine so.
Okay.
I wasn't allowed to complete the work.
Okay. And obviously you will not be going back.
No.
All right. Anything, any cross-examination, Ms. Backus or Ms. McLeod?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Let's have Ms. McLeod present, mute yourself, Mr. Love, and see if we have any more questions for you. So can you hang on a little bit?
Your Honor, my client is 42 years old. He is a practicing attorney in the state of Georgia. He is married. He has an 8-year-old daughter, and as Bridgell has noted, he has never been arrested in his life. He hired the complaining witness to do some plumbing work at his home, and they had a disagreement. My client denies that he struck him. In fact, my client was the one who called the police. Given my client's history, my client's standing as an attorney in the community who has never been arrested, I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond. This incident happened in January. They are strangers. It's not like they live together or anything. So there is really no reason for them to have any contact with each other going forward. I would disagree with the assertion by the prosecutor that my client needs anger management. He's 42 years old, never been in any kind of trouble. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to order a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial. And I'm going to order that the victim that the defendant, Mr. Barnes, have no further contact with the victim, Dwayne Love. Of course, I can't order him to stay away from his home. So there will be no stay away, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm going to order the one-day anger awareness course through pretrial for Mr. Barnes. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Backus.
You're done.
Can't hear you. All right. Mr. Love, that will conclude the case, and we thank you for your time. Good luck to you.
Sorry,
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
Honor, I couldn't.
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
One whole case. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Same to you, Judge.
All right.
Next, we have position 12, tolls.
Okay. This is case number 22 CR 005017A, Casey Tolls. You're charged with 2 counts of simple battery, both with the offense date of July 28th, 2022. Pretrial?
6 total. Last arrest was June 2021 in Coweta County. Felony obstruction. 2 counts of riot in a penal institution. It's open. It says indicted. Before that was 2021 Coweta County probation violation for obstruction and speeding. Another 2021 arrest for battery against police. 2 counts, 1 count misdemeanor obstruction. 2020 disorderly conduct and trespass, and a 2020 obstruction, first offender. That's it.
All right, Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor, this event occurred on yesterday at around 1 p.m. Officer responded to 2430 Cheshire Bridge Road, apartment 406. And they met with one of the victims, Miss Kimberly Smoot. She stated that her and her sister, Haley Smoot, was trying to get a displaced woman that was in the hall away from their door. They stated she was making a lot of noise and causing a lot of disruption. She was also sleeping there. When they spoke to her, she started using profanity and just being belligerent. So at that point, they wanted to tell the property management. And when they came out, Ms. Toll actually grabbed Miss Kimberly Smoot, grabbed her by her arm and tried to fight with her. And when Miss Toll's also grabbed Miss Haley Smoot by her hair and was pulling her hair. The warrant even stated that some of her hair was pulled out at that time. Police was called and she was ultimately detained. As you see, this defendant has a violent history, open cases just last year, 2 of them. So the state is concerned that she will continue to be violent and it would escalate ultimately. The state is requesting a $6,000 surety. That's $3,000 for each simple battery charge. No further contact with Kimberly Smoot, and the last name is Smoot, and Haley Smoot, Haleigh, and a stay away from 2430 Cheshire Bridge Road, apartment 406, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
All right. Ms.
Yes.
Kim?
Yes, Miss Tolls is 23 years old, and she was born and raised here in Georgia. He's a single, no children. However, his mom and stepfather are here in Georgia. She has been unemployed for about a year, so she has no financial means to pay for any bond right now. And actually, I am referring social worker services since she is residentially challenged for the last 4 days. She has some toxic environments that she has to stay away from. So that's what's going on in her life. We would like to request for signature on bond. She denies the allegations, and we believe that she needs benefit of doubt, and the open cases, she's presumed to be innocent, and we would like to request for, if your honor is not inclined to give her signature on bond, we would like to ask for $1,000 surety bond for each charge, maximum $2,000 surety bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to order a $6,000 surety bond, $3,000 on each charge for a total of $6,000 for surety bond. I'm going to order stay away from 2430 Cheshire Bridge Road, number 406, apartment 406. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Kimberly Smoot, and the victim, Haley Smoot, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Anything else that you take up?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right, that will conclude this case.
Next, we have position 11, Mr. Smith.
Okay. All right, this is case number 22 CR 005016Y. Mr. Rodriguez Smith, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass with the offense date of July 27, 2022. And pretrial, do you have anything?
Second arrest. Last arrest was March in DeKalb County. Theft by taking. It was not presented to a grand jury.
All right. This is Ms. King.
Yes, Your Honor. Officers were called for a suspicious person at 2100 DeForest Ferry Road, apartment 2025. Upon arriving on scene, he met with the maintenance supervisor, Miss Melissa Roseman, that stated someone was inside of that unit and they were squatting and they were not supposed to be there. The officer went to approach him and at first he wouldn't come out, but then he locked the door. But then when he realized who it was, I'm presuming, because the officer said he announced himself again, he came out with his hands up. The property manager stated that this has happened before. She did not state if it was this defendant, but apparently there's an issue with this unit. So at this time, the state is inferring that she's saying that this defendant has been in that unit before. The defendant did state to the officer that he was homeless and went in there, to sleep. But it did interfere with them being able to clean it and rent it out, which is a problem for the unit, for the property. For that reason, the state is requesting $1,000 surety bond, a stay away from the entire apartment complex. It's called 2100 DeForest, but the actual address is 2100 DeForest Ferry Road. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
All right. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Smith is 20 years old, Your Honor, and he was born and raised here in Georgia, and he has been homeless. However, he has 2 jobs, and he's also going to trade school as well. So he's been managing his life very wisely with 2 jobs. During the weekends, he works as a security, and from Monday through Friday, he loads up the trucks. He's saving up money to rent his own place. He says he never got previous warning, and this happened for the first time. I think it's pretrial service is recommended for unsecured judicial relief. So we would like to request for signature on bond for this case, Your Honor. Thank you.
That was through the jail, Judge.
Okay. All right. I'm going to order a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the entire complex of 2100 DeForest, from the whole complex, not just from that apartment number, but Mr. Smith, you're not to go back to that complex. All right. Stay away from it, or else you'll be right back in the Fulton County Jail. Understand me?
She's talking to you.
Say it again.
Do you understand that you are to stay away from the entire complex of 2100 DeForest?
Yeah.
You're not to go back there. And no squatting, no staying in any of the apartments. Don't even go near the complex. But I'm giving you a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, and a stay away from that entire complex, okay?
Yeah.
All right. That will conclude this case.
Thank you,
Your Honor.
Position 3, Mr. Eaton.
This is 22 CR 005009E. Anthony Eaton, you're charged at 1 count of battery family violence. Offense date is July 28, 2022. Pretrial.
First arrest.
All right. Ms. Bacchus. Apologize. You're on mute.
All right. One second, get back to my screen.
Okay.
This incident occurred on yesterday. An officer was dispatched to 22 Peachtree Avenue for a domestic disturbance. Upon arriving, the victim, Miss Lola McIntosh. Lola is spelled Lola. McIntosh is McIntosh. She advised that her and her live-in boyfriend, the defendant, were in an argument that escalated to a physical altercation. The defendant apparently found some piece of paper in Miss McIntosh's vehicle that had a phone number and with a male's name on it. And so he came into their bedroom, asked whose phone number it was, and she said that she drives Uber, and so someone left it in the vehicle. He got really upset. He balled his fist and punched her in the mouth, which caused swelling and a laceration to her bottom lip. She then stated that he threatened to throw her off their balcony. We tried to reach out to the victim and we were unable to reach her before court today, Your Honor, but the violent nature of, it is his first arrest, but closed fist punching a woman in the face and threatening to throw her off her balcony. We have serious concerns about the violent nature. There's been no real significant cool down period. And so the state is asking for a $3,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Lola McIntosh, a stay away from the incident location, which is 22 Peachtree Avenue Northeast, apartment 4 in Atlanta, 1-day anger awareness, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, nothing further.
All right. Oh, Mr. Ford, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Your Honor, my client is 55 years old and has been mentioned by pretrial, has had no incidents of criminal history at all. He's a high school grad. He's also a trade school graduate. He's certified as a life coach. He has a very good job at Publix in Buckhead. He's an 8-year resident of Georgia, has very good community ties. He's given me a number of relatives who live here in the area. He has a place to stay. I think he gave me the address of 22 Peachtree Northeast, but he does have individuals that he could stay with. But Your Honor, we're asking for no further violent contact because that is his place of residence. He has given me a stable telephone number, email address. Your Honor, this person is not a person who's going to reoffend. I think as this case goes on, it was definitely a misunderstanding. And Your Honor, he's being recommended for unsecured judicial release. So we're asking for a signature bond at this time.
Your Honor, the state absolutely objects to him going back to the 22 Peachtree, as that's where he resides with the victim. And so we are asking that stay away be issued.
Your Honor, he has no, he could possibly manufacture some place to stay, Your Honor, but I think based on his history, I think a no further violent contact would be appropriate at this time.
Have you all spoken with the victim?
Your Honor, we have not been able to speak with the victim, but again, this incident occurred on, I believe, yesterday. And so like I said, there has been no cool down period. And he punched this woman in her mouth, and the officers visibly saw the swelling and the laceration to her lip. So at the end of the day, whether or not he has somewhere to go is not a concern of the state. The state is concerned for this victim's safety, and so the stay away is necessary in our opinion.
Your Honor, I just want to say that my client has no history of violence. in the past. He's 55 years old. He understands how to control himself. And I think at this point, due to the fact that that's his address as well, I think, Your Honor, that he should be allowed to go back. So no further violent contact, I think, would be appropriate.
All right, I will order the $3,500 signature bond through pretrial. But I am inclined to agree with the state. There has not been proper cooling down. I know he's 55 years old. However, I would hope that with the allegations, he would know better. So I'm going to order a stay away from the 22 Peachtree Avenue Northeast, apartment 4. I'm going to order him to stay away from there, find some other place to live. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Lola McIntosh. And I'm going to order the one-day anger awareness course through pretrial. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, except for anything prescribed to you. All right, any other things I need to take up with this case?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank you.
Further, Your Honor.
thank you.
Good. Position 6, Hightower.
This is case number 22 CR 005011A. Tradius Hightower, you're charged with 1 count of possession of dangerous drugs, 2nd count seatbelt violation, 3rd count driving window tint, all with the offense date of July 28, 2022. Pre-trial?
16 total. Last arrest was last month. Sale of marijuana, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission. Possession of a firearm by convicted felon or felony first offender. Possession of drug-related objects. Window tint. Gang participation. Hold on, Judge. Yeah, unlawful for a person to associate with gang. That's open. Case number is, I'll come back to the case. 2021 false report of a crime. 2019 driving without a valid license. 2018 probation violation. Underlying charge of robbery by force. Assault with a deadly weapon. Possession of marijuana with intent. 2018 suspended license no load. 2017 probation violation convictions. That robbery, possession by a convicted felon, and sale of marijuana, that was from 2012 conviction. 2011 theft by taking. Probation violation 2009. Underlying charge was burglary. He had an 08 burglary conviction. Criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. That's it.
Okay.
Your Honor, this incident occurred yesterday, July 28th. 2 officers were advised by another pair of officers that a black male in a white t-shirt was making hand-to-hand transactions at the incident location, which is 960 Newtown Circle in Atlanta. That is the Forest Cove Apartments. Officers, when they got there, they observed a black male wearing the white t-shirt who was later identified as the defendant. He was seen making the hand-to-hand transactions with a blue Audi SUV. He then went to his Cadillac, which the officers ran and was registered to him. He got into the vehicle. He drove away, drove to another house at 1097 Kipling Street. He stayed there for 15 minutes and then left the location. Various undercover officers were watching the situation and his activity. They didn't lose sight of him. So one of the things that they noted was that he was not wearing his seatbelt at the time. They said that he went southbound on Moreland, going about 80 miles per hour. When officers finally were able to catch up to him, they approached and they could immediately smell marijuana coming from the vehicle. And so they asked the defendant to step out and he was detained. The officer noted in his report that he had arrested this defendant before, and the last time he arrested him, he had a very significant large amount of marijuana on him. So the officer conducted a vehicle search and he observed a styrofoam cup that had ice and a green substance inside. And he said there was also a Jolly Rancher on the top. Based on the officer's training and experience, he noted that he believed it to be lean or promethazine and Sprite, because there was also a bottle of Sprite that was there that was not full. It was half gone. There was also a bottle of Mott's apple juice, which had a green, thicker substance in it. And the officer believed that that bottle of the Mott's apple juice, he said it was not apple juice on the inside. And so he opened it, smelled it, and it was the smell of cough syrup. And so the officer later checked the window tint on the vehicle, and it was darker than the legal limit. And so as you heard, Your Honor, the defendant's history, we're concerned about reoffense. As you heard, he just reoffended with this case because he was arrested last month on those charges, which he had a $76,000 good bond on that one. He is a convicted felon. He's got numerous offenses, all the way stemming from 2007, but most recently he's had 6 run-ins with the law in the last 4 years, Your Honor. And so we have serious concern about him. He obviously has no issue reoffending, and we have concerns about him returning to court as well. He hasn't had an FTA since 2008, but he has had substantial amount of probation violations and probation revocations. The state is asking for a $2,500 cash bond for the dangerous drug charge, $250 for the seatbelt, and $250 for the window tint. A stay away from that incident location, which is 960 Newtown Circle in Atlanta. No further violations of Georgia law while out on bond, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further from the state.
All right, Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, my client is 33 years old, in the process of trying to complete his GED. He is self-employed. He has his own clothing line, and Your Honor, he has a valid driver's license and owns his vehicle. And he also helps support 9 children, and they're all stemming from the ages of 1 to 11. Your Honor, he's a lifetime resident of Georgia, so he's not going anywhere. He has strong community ties due to the fact that he was able to give me his aunt's telephone number as a person that I could contact. He's given me a stable address, which is not the incident location. Your Honor, he also has a telephone number, email address. You know, he may have a past, Your Honor, but he's trying to move forward and do the right thing. These are 2 driving offenses, Your Honor, a seatbelt and a window tint, and possession of drugs. I didn't see what the amount was, but Your Honor, we believe a signature bond in this case so he can deal with all the issues, some of the other issues that he is involved in, so he can get out also and earn money so he can help support the children, his 9 children. 2 are his dependents who actually stay with him, Your Honor. So we're asking for a signature bond at this time.
All right, I'm sorry. Oh, I thought someone was speaking. I am going to do a split bond on the seatbelt and the driving with the window tint. I'm going to do a signature bond on those 2, $250 each for a signature bond through the jail. And then I'm going to do a bond as far as the possession of the dangerous drugs. I will do a $3,500 surety bond on that charge. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm going to order, I'm assuming that the defendant does not live at this location, the 960 Newtown Circle.
No, Your Honor. According to the police report, this is a location that is known for gang activity, and he's been cited for gang activity there before, so he shouldn't be going to that location.
All right, and I'm going to order stay away from 960 Newtown Circle, which is the Forest Cove Apartments. Actually, council is gonna order him to stay away from the whole complex, Forest Cove Apartments. And, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. I guess that will be it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we got position 13, Willis.
Okay. This case number 22 CR 005018H. Bakari Akil Willis, you're charged at 1 count of simple battery, offense date June 30th, 2022. Pre-trial?
14 total. He's a resident of Augusta. Last arrest was 2018, probation violation. That was out of DeKalb County. 2018, failure to appear out of Columbia County. 2018, harassing phone calls conviction. It was amended from a stalking. 2018, FTAs for 10 counts of identity fraud. 2014, forgery in the first degree. Another 2014 forgery. 2013, he was convicted for 7 counts of identity theft fraud. He's on probation for that now. 2020, they gave him 5 years probation out of Richmond County. He got a 2010 shoplifting conviction. First offender, 2009 for shoplifting. That's it.
All right. Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. As you know, this occurred last month. And officers were dispatched to 5401 Old National Highway, apartment 205, in reference to a domestic dispute. Upon arriving, they made contact with the victim of this case, Kenneth Bunkley, Kenneth Bunkley. Speaking with him, he advised that he told the defendant to leave the location. It is our understanding that he was allowing the defendant to live there temporarily, to get on his feet and get himself together. And he wanted him to leave. And at that point, the defendant got angry and started to destroy his property inside of the home. There's also talk of a bat. After speaking with the victim today, he actually stated that he was struck with that bat and his jaw was swollen after the altercation. While we understand this is not in the incident, in the warrant, we got this information from the victim speaking with him today. He did state that he was going to be on the call, if Your Honor would sound for him at the conclusion of my presentation. After the altercation, before the cops got there, the defendant actually left the scene. But the victim was able to give officer identifying information about the vehicle, which is how he was ultimately apprehended. The victim also told us that they share a mutual friend, which is how they met. They aren't actually friends, they share a friend. And he was only trying to be nice to the defendant and give him somewhere to stay, and he turned on him and battered him. For that reason, Your Honor, the state is requesting a $3,000 surety, no further contact with Kenneth Bunkley, a stay away from 5401 Old National Highway, apartment 2005, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. I would also like to note that he is not a resident of Fulton County. He does not have ties to this community, so the state is concerned that he's also a flight risk. And also with his extensive history and violating his probation, the state is concerned that he will, he's a risk of violating the bond, and we also fear that he will intimidate our victim in this case.
All right. Ms. Kim, let's see, do we have the Mr. Bunkley on the line at all? Kenneth Bunkley? No? All right, go ahead, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Willis is 30 years old, Your Honor. And actually, even though he may not reside here in Fulton County, he has been here in Georgia for more than all his life, actually, not more, but all his life. He has 2 children, 14 and 13, who he supports financially. He's not married at this point, and yet he also supports his mother as well. And he is employed as a self-employment, event of amuse, and also he works at one of the vendors as an employee, as a event producer. And he's been doing that ever since he was 15 years old. He graduated from high school, and he has a serious chronic medical condition that he really, really needs medicine. He was in Clayton County Jail from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. These 4 days, he was not able to take any of his medicine, and it is causing very serious medical condition right now. So he does need to get out of the jail as fast as he can, or he has to get medical attention. We would like to request for a signature on bond for this incident. However, if your honor is not inclined to give him his signature on bond, even though most of his charges are ID, forgery, nothing has been violence. We would like to request for maximum $1,000 surety bond, your honor. Thank you. And they do not reside together, so we do not accept to stay away or no further contact.
All right, I'm going to order $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order stay away from 5401 Old National Highway, apartment 2005. And I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Kenneth Bunkley. That should resolve everything.
Your honor, can he just have a one-time law enforcement officer for personal belongings?
Yes, he may have a one-time police escort with him to retrieve any personal items. Do not go back by yourself, Mr. Willis. If you do, you will be rearrested, but you need to arrange for police escort to go back if you have any personal items still at that location, okay? Deputy, I believe he's on mute. I don't know if he has a question.
I don't need, I've already got my items away from there.
Okay, so you won't be
Mr. Willis, I will call you and explain to you. Please remain silent. You have a right to remain silent.
All right, if you don't have any items and you won't be going back there, I'll take that provision out of the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said he does not need to go back there. He doesn't have any items. So I'm sorry, my litigation manager, please take that provision off of the bond.
Okay.
Just a straight stay away. All right, so stay away from that location. Thank you.
Position 2, Brooke.
This is case number 22 CR 005-008C. Jason Chandler Brooke, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. The offense date is July 28, 2022. Pre-trial?
7 total. Last arrest was January of this year for shoplifting. He's on probation for that. 2020 failed to appear out of Peachtree City. It was for a marijuana charge. Another 2020 arrest, parole violation. 2017 entering auto, 2 counts, those were dismissed. 2017 entering auto, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 counts. 1 count theft by, well, 2 counts of theft by taking. Actually, it's 3 counts. 1 count theft by receiving, 1 count criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. Those were convictions out of Fayette County. He's on probation, like I said, so. That's it, Judge.
All right.
Your Honor, we have not yet received the police report, but what we've gathered from the warrant and the citation, it appears that the defendant and his live-in girlfriend, Caitlin Hooper, had an argument, and in the midst of the argument, the defendant got angry and he punched the wall with his fist. He put a hole in the wall. And I believe Miss Hooper's mom is the person who owns the property, and she witnessed the incident. We were able to speak with the victim, and she said that they are no longer together after this incident. They were living together, and she's currently 16 weeks pregnant with the defendant's child. She stated that the defendant destroyed her home, and that he broke her coffee table, her door, her picture frames, and left glass all over the floor. The victim also stated that this is not the first time it's happened. She called the police on him a few months ago for pushing her and threatening her, but the defendant was not arrested. I believe she said the officers said there wasn't enough to do anything. But the victim stated that she does fear the defendant and worried that if he gets out, that he'll come back and do the same thing. And he also called her from jail crying and begging her to get him out. And she said that she wants no contact. And she wants him to stay away from that incident location. She should be on Zoom, but she doesn't want to speak today. But Your Honor, based on the criminal history, the 2020 FDA and parole violation, we have concerns about him coming back to court. And he's already currently on probation from the January 2022 theft by shoplifting charge, Your Honor. And so because we know that he will seriously reoffend, we are asking for a $2,000 surety bond, a one-day anger awareness to stay away from that incident location, which is 600 Kingsport Drive in Roswell, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. Nothing further.
All right. Mr. Ford, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, my client is 22 years old, has his GED, and he's gainfully employed at Dunkin' Donuts in Alpharetta. He's a lifetime resident of Georgia. He's not a risk of flight. He has strong community ties. He's given me the number and name of his grandmother where he will be living, so there will be no issue with any stayaways, Your Honor. He has no reason to have further contact with the complaining witness. He is trying to work and save money to help out, though, the fact that the complaining witness is carrying his child. And so he wants to help out there. He has a stable address, stable telephone number, email address, Your Honor. I believe a signature bond would be appropriate because he needs to be out to keep his job so he can help support the child that's on its way.
Your Honor, the state would seriously object to a signature bond. Again, this defendant, he talks about the age, but I would say that works against him. If he's 22 years old, he's got seven cycles from in the last 5 years, and 4 of which are fairly serious in 2017. And again, he's still on probation. And if he is gainfully employed, I won't speak to that, but what I will say is he has a theft by shoplifting charge from January. And he still, even though he has that job, he is still out in the community doing things and violating the law. And so we do feel as though a surety bond is more appropriate for this offense. Nothing further.
Just once, this is a criminal trespass case, Your Honor. There's no battery, nothing of that nature. I would think that at this point, him being 22 years old and being employed, I think is very important, Your Honor. Very important.
I was surprised, Ms. Backus, so the charge is just criminal trespass?
Honestly, yes, Your Honor. Myself as well.
Y'all haven't added anything, any charge?
1 second, Your Honor. We haven't added anything in this particular incident, Your Honor, because from what we have based on, like I said, the warrant and the citation, what we have is that it was a verbal altercation, and he he punched the wall. A lot of the description of the victim saying that he has put his hands on her and whatnot was from previous incidents. So we haven't added a charge at this time, Your Honor.
Your Honor, just on the previous incidents, Your Honor, he was not charged as has been mentioned. So, Your Honor, we believe this is a criminal trespass case, and my client is more than willing to stay away from that address and have no further contact.
All right, I'm going to order the $2,000 surety bond. I'm going to order that he stay away from the incident location 600. Is it Kingsport or Kingsport?
Kings with an S Port Drive.
Kingsport Drive. I'm going to order, I guess, based upon your conversation with the victim, that he have no further contact with her at this time. So we
Your
can
Honor,
make sure
there's no victim. There's no victim in this. There's no complaint. She's a witness, but there's no victim.
I thought with the criminal trespass, is this location her location where she resides?
Yes, this is her home. This is her home where the defendant was living with her, but her mother owns this home.
Yeah, it was
So he
mother's
needs to-
home, Your Honor.
But the property that was damaged with the criminal trespass is the property of the victim, is Caitlin Hooper. Is that correct?
It is her residence, correct?
It's not her property, Your Honor. It's her grandmother's
The
property.
ownership is not.
Ownership
She
of the
still resides there. It's not.
versus the personal property. Personal property in the location belongs to the victim, I'm assuming.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to stick with the $2,000 surety bond, and no further contact with the victim at this time, making sure there is the ample cooling down period. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, and to stay away from the incident location, 600 Kingsport.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Who do we have next, Deputy?
Position 4, Griffin.
I see Ms. Hooper has come on the camera. Hold on a second. You're not wanting to address the court, I'm assuming, Ms. Hooper, that's what I'd heard.
Yes, I just was texting with my victim advocate. He is not just criminal trespassing.
Hold on. I'm finished with this case. I've already given my ruling, and if the defendant needs to come back for you to address the court, I can maybe do that, but I wish you would have gotten on closer.
Right here, Judge. He's right here.
Okay, thank you. All right, you're Mr. Jeffrey Barnes, is that correct? I'm sorry, Mr. Jason Brook, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, Ms. Hooper, do you wish to address the court?
Yes.
Okay, raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth on the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Okay, and I apologize, Mr. Ford and Ms. Backus. I'm going to go ahead and let the victim give me some brief testimony to help us out here. Okay, so I'm going to open this matter back up. This is case number 22 CR 0050008C. Ms. Hooper, what would you like to tell me?
Thank you, Your Honor. It was not just a criminal trespassing. He also put his hands on me and dragged me to the floor, as well as dragged me outside. So it may have not gotten to you by the police yet or anyone in the court thus far, because it happened yesterday at 11 a.m. But he did put his hands on me and drag me to the ground, also 16 weeks pregnant.
Let me ask you this. Are you in fear of Mr. Brook at this point?
Yes.
Okay. And he does not reside with you at this location, 600 Kingsport, is that correct?
He used to, but now that we broke up, I asked him to get his stuff yesterday. He proceeded to get his stuff, but the police arrived before he was able to get anything out. I would like,
Honor, you know, and I know you opened the case back up, but this is not a battery case. There might be some information that's forthcoming, but the case has already been resolved. I mean, you've already made a ruling. I apologize for it just now, but after looking at the case, the statements about him putting hands and dragging, that has no bearing in this case. It's only about the fact that there was a wall that was there. I'm going to object to this
Your
comment.
Honor, the state does reserve the right, so that's fine. So this is being put on the record, but the state does reserve the right to add charges. So once we receive that police report, the charge may be added. So
Do I have to come back to court with a different charge against him then if I want to say that it was domestic violence?
Yes, there's a possibility that you will keep in contact with the prosecutor and your victim witness advocate, and they will inform you of the next steps regarding that, okay? So as I've ruled, there's a $2,000 surety bond. There is a stay away from your location. And I don't know, Mr. Ford, if you're requesting or does your client need a one-time police escort to retrieve any personal items from that property?
State is requesting that, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll go ahead and add on to that order, to that bond order, there will be a one-time police escort back to that location to retrieve any personal items. So Mr. Brook, you need to set that up with the police. Do not go back by yourself, else you will be rearrested. There is still that stay away, as well as no further contact with the victim, Caitlin Hooper. There's no further contact with her as well, okay? All right, that should conclude this case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for reopening the matter, Your Honor.
You're welcome, thank you.
Position 4, Griffin.
This is case number 22 CR 005010C. Timmy Darrell Griffin, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery, family violence. The offense date is May the 30th, 2021. Pretrial?
60 total.
60?
Yes.
Okay.
He has 55 cycles out of Florida alone. Hold on. Last arrest was back in May. Possession of cocaine. Possession of a controlled substance without prescription. And possession of marijuana. 2017, possession of cocaine. Suspended license conviction from 2016.
What are those, Georgia?
Nah, that's all Florida.
What are the 5 Georgias in the recent? Because you said 55 from Florida.
Yeah.
But those are the most recent.
Well, I was just starting with Florida. It's so many in Florida, that's why. But as far as Georgia, last Georgia arrest was back in April. Failed to appear out of Lilburn. Was driving without a valid license. Pled NOLO 2020, driving without a valid license. 2020 FTA. 2020 driving without a valid license. So that's it for Georgia.
Okay.
I don't think I saw any violence in the last 10 years at least. State may have something different.
All right. Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. I put a sensitive conviction in the chat for Your Honor.
All right, thank you. What,
yeah.
You know what year?
Yes, 1993.
93, okay.
And that's from Florida.
Okay.
Your Honor, this defendant is 47 years old. He has more cycles than he has years alive, Your Honor. This offense is very concerning to the state. He was out with his wife having lunch, and when they returned to their vehicle, there was a boot on it. When the parking attendant arrived, they tried to get a reduction in the amount to get the boot removed. And when the parking attendant decided not to, then he became enraged and decided to take it out on his wife, who was the victim in this case, Miss Brandy Griffin, Brandy, same last name as the defendant. They started to argue, and ultimately the defendant punched his wife in the face and then in her mouth. and he took her keys and refused to return them. Then at that point, they started to walk down the street. The defendant was seen berating her and yelling at her while they were on the scene, while they were walking down the street. She did decline medical treatment, but the officer thought it was appropriate that she needed some due to the injuries he observed. We have spoken with this victim. She states they are married, live together, but they share no children. While she states this has not happened before, this still concerns us how angry he got, especially with how many cycles he has. It shows he has propensity for violence. The state is requesting a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Brandy Griffin, a stay away from the incident location, the 1040 Juniper Street Northeast. This is due to causing disruption outside of in the place that they were at. The state feels it's reasonable that he should not be able to return to a place that he disrupted, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. This defendant does not have any ties pretty much at all to Georgia. He's been here a brief time, and in that brief time, he's collected 5 cycles. He is a Florida resident, and the state feels that he will flee and we will not see him again. Again, the state is requesting a $5,000 surety bond in this matter.
All right, Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, my client's 47 years old, as been mentioned, but he has ties right here in Georgia. He's received a job at the Dogtopia in Roswell. He's the general manager. Will start this job on Monday, making over $45,000 a year, Your Honor. Another thing that concerns me is that the victim wants him to come home. This case is over a year old, Your Honor. They've been living together amicably. And so she wants him to come home to help support, their lifestyle. I have 9 years he's been in Georgia. He's not a Florida resident. And since he's been in Georgia, there's really been no violent crimes, those types of things, Your Honor. At 47, a person starts to understand that their life has to be lived differently. And I think that's the decision that Mr. Griffin has made, for him to come here and get a very good job and become a general manager. Somebody has seen some positive things in Mr. Griffin. His wife wants to have contact with him. He's got a strong address. He does have strong community ties because his wife is here. He has a stable address, stable email address, Your Honor. So at this point, we're asking for a signature bond. My client needs to get out of jail, go to his job on Monday, and help support him and his wife at this time. So, Your Honor, and she has not had any complaints about my client in over a year. This happened May of 2021, and here it is July, almost August of 2022. We feel a signature bond is necessary, Your Honor, so he can keep the employment. Here's a person who has dug himself out and has gainful employment as a general manager. I believe he should have an opportunity to show that he has changed his ways. He's in Georgia, not Florida. That's where most of this issues were. He came here to change that. And Your Honor, I believe he has. We're talking about a situation where there was a boot on his car and there was some concerns about how that should happen in their negotiations. Your Honor, this is not a case that is significant. So at this point, Your Honor, we're asking for a signature bond.
Your Honor, if I may, Attorney Ford has provided some information to the state saying that he has been a Georgia resident for 9 years, but in those 9 years, he's gotten 9 convictions in Florida, Your Honor, one even as recent as last year. He is frequently, it appears due to his criminal history alone that he's in Florida more than he's in Georgia. Your Honor, this defendant is a flight risk. He's a danger to the community. He's a danger to his wife, and the state renews their request for the $5,000 surety, no further contact, and the stay away, Your Honor.
Have you all had any contact with the victim, state?
Yes, we have, Your Honor. She is reiterated that the incident did happen, even though she's saying nothing like that has happened before. with them. She says they are married, live together, and she says that he has been attempting to make a change since this incident. But due to the amount of cycles, there's no reason to believe the defendant won't go off the deep end again, and it could be a grave result the next time, Your Honor. Which
Your
is why.
Honor, yeah, I have to object to some of the severity of the language that's grave and those types of things. This person, you know, there's a chance for rehabilitation, and this person has done that. And the state wants to continue. The state brings up a 1993 Florida incident and wants the judge to take that in consideration. When you have an individual who's shown that he wants to do better, in trying to do better, he's been with his wife for over a year. She's already stated there's been no incident. She wants him to come home. Your Honor, this is the prime example of a case where a person is making changes in his life, and I feel a signature bond would be appropriate so he can go get this job and start to become even a more productive member of society.
State, did the victim, when did you speak to the victim that she says that she does or doesn't want him to come home? I'm hearing from Mr. Ford that she does, and then I think you all state that she doesn't. Who had the most recent contact with the victim?
Yes, we've been in contact with her today, Your Honor. I was just saying, the state feels that a stay away and no further contact is appropriate due to his criminal history and the facts of the case. Your Honor is familiar with the cycles of violence. So while we do take our victims' feelings in consideration, ultimately, as the state, it is our job to protect them and the citizens of Fulton County. And for that reason, Your Honor, the state is standing strong that a no further contact and a stay away is appropriate in this matter. And a surety bond, we will strongly object to a signature bond.
Yeah, and Your Honor, that's why I wanted to add the clarification that the victim has not stated that she wanted the client to stay away from or no further contact from my client.
What is his current address, Georgia or Florida?
I have Austell, Your Honor. It's 4875 Sweetwater Valley Road, Austell, Georgia. It's a house. They've just purchased a home, Your Honor. That's the sign of residency, not the sign of living in Florida.
Well, while that may be true, Your Honor, like I stated before, since he's been a resident of Georgia, he's had 9 convictions. So that's not even arrest, Your Honor. That's convictions, you know, that had happened in Florida alone, Your Honor.
And then he was just arrested on the 28th for the 2021.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And we don't have any idea. I'm sure that's not a great question to ask as to why it took so long for him to be arrested.
I'm not sure, Your Honor.
All right. I see your hand up, Mr. Griffin, but your attorney is probably going to tell you to not speak.
I didn't notice that. Mr. Griffin, you know, we do advise that you do not make any statements at this time. You know, it's in your best interest not to do that, okay?
I understand, but I still would like to say one thing to the judge. I'm not.
Hold on, Mr. Griffin. I've asked that you not speak. So if you're going, you know, I'd ask that you not speak.
All right. I'm going to order a $5,000 surety bond, and I'm going to, with the $5,000 surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, I am going to order, as the state has requested, to stay away from the 1040 Juniper Street Northeast. I'm a little torn on the contact with the victim because of the time frame, and I do understand the cycles of violence, but I'm going to, I don't have an address location, which I just was given for Austell for the parties to stay apart. And the address that the state has given me, the Juniper Street, is just the address of where the incident occurred, which is not their residential address. So it's a little conflicting if I'm going to order the signature bond, but not order him to stay away from the home or the victim. And so if we don't have an address where there's been a request for him to stay away, then I guess there's no further violent contact with the victim. Is what I'm going to order with the bond. There's no further violent contact with the victim. And then staying away from the Juniper Street. Is that the request of the state?
Yes, Your Honor. And is it a signature bond or a surety bond?
Surety bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, anything else that I need to take up?
I have nothing else, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor,
Position number 10, Robinson.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
Before you call that case, there was a person who was on the C calendar this morning, but they're no longer on, they're not showing on the calendar, so we need to find out what happened with that case.
Okay, which case is that?
The defendant's name is Shavella Garrett. That is, oh, I don't have the SG number. I mean, I don't have the case number. Hold on one second.
Is that a question for the jail?
What position is that?
I thought it was position 4. Well, that's what it was this morning on the distribution list, but it
Your Honor,
wasn't on there.
if I may, it was on the jail pull sheet, but it's not on the calendar. Shavella Garrett.
Garrett, Garrett.
Yes, Your Honor.
Was she on pull sheet? That's what I'm looking at now.
She's
Not on my pull sheet.
She's
This
not on my
morning.
pull sheet.
And it does not show that she bonded out. Her booking number is 221-1158.
And I don't think she's on this calendar either.
She is not on she is not on the final calendar. She was only on the jail pull sheet. But we need to address her case.
She's not on the-
We didn't have a Garrett on the
calendar.
pull sheet. I'm not sure what pull sheet you're going from, but there was no Garrett on our pull sheet this morning.
We didn't have that, Your Honor, in our pull sheet either.
Yeah, she's not on the pull sheet at all, Judge.
Okay. I
But
think
she'll
Mr.
probably be on
Jordan
tomorrow.
stated that she was not on.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll check with our team to find out what happened, but I am showing.
She was on, because I pull it first thing at 4 a.m. Sometimes my pull sheet is different from everyone else's pull sheet.
Oh, all right.
Which could be a major issue like this.
Okay. Well, good to have an answer to that question. We will address it tomorrow. I will be here tomorrow to address it, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Jordan didn't see it on his, Ms. Kim.
That's fine, Your Honor. We'll be able to address it tomorrow. There won't be a Riverside issue.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And who did you say you had next, Deputy? Apologize.
This is position 10, Robinson.
10, okay. This is James Robinson, 22 CR 005015D. You're charged with 1 count of reckless conduct, offense date 7/28/2022, pretrial.
It's fourth arrest. We went to felony earlier for ag assault strangulation. Bond 15,000. Last arrest was August 2021 in DeKalb County for battery DV, crude in the 3rd. That's open. 2018 FTA for robbery by sudden snatching, 2 counts. But the robbery was dismissed in May of this year. That's all.
All right. Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor, this offense occurred on yesterday. Multiple officers were in the area for the Forest Cove Apartments due to the high crime and gang activity in the area. And they saw the defendant and they were able to identify him by his clothing, and they saw him waving around a firearm with an extended magazine in the air. Then there was a vehicle, it appears, that came in the area, and the officers noted seeing him point the gun at whoever was in the vehicle. At that point, they decided to detain him. But when they detained him, that's when they found the outstanding warrant for the aggravated assault, which he went to felony court for this morning. Your Honor, I don't think I need to explain so much as to why this is so frightening. He has multiple open violent offenses, and he's just out in the community with a firearm, feeling comfortable enough to wave it around and point it at someone, Your Honor. We're still investigating this. If we're able to identify who he actually pointed a firearm at, we will be upgrading this to a felony. The state is concerned for the community at large, and also people that live in the community, live in the Forest Cove apartments area where he decides to conduct this activity. The state is asking for a 5,000 surety, a stay away from the Forest Cove apartments located at 900 Newtown Circle Southeast in Atlanta, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Robinson is 24 years old, Your Honor, and he has been here in Georgia for all his life. He was born and raised, and he has two children, 8 and 4 years old. And he's gainfully employed at warehouse. He studied last week for this new job, and he really want to keep this job. And his education is he completed up to 10th grade, and he's working on his GED right now. And this incident, he was defending himself against the group of people who were there. We would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of other open cases, we would like to request for maximum of $1,000 surety bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to order a $5,000 surety bond. I'm going to order stay away from the Forest Cove apartment complex. I'm assuming the defendant does not reside there.
I don't think so, Your Honor. He gave me completely different address from that location.
All right, we're going to order him to stay away from the Forest Cove apartment. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that would conclude this matter. Is that correct from both counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Judge. Lastly, Mr. Jones, Jonathan Jones, position number 7.
Okay. We also had 9. Did we do position 9, James Moore? Or did they bond out? Huh?
I heard
I was about to ask.
out.
Did he bond out?
That's what I was told, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes, position number 9 bonded out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, this is position 7, 22 CR 00501-2B. Jonathas Jones, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery. Offense date is July 27, 2022. Pre-trial?
This is 5th arrest. Last arrest was in 1988. Abandonment.
Okay.
Yes. It was an abandonment charge.
Okay. All right, Ms. Backers.
Yes, Your Honor. As you stated, this incident occurred on July 7th. An officer responded to a fight call at 3274 Seville Street Southwest in Atlanta. Upon arriving, the officer was let in by the victim's mother, who pointed to the top of the staircase where the officer saw 2 males in a physical altercation. The victim, Mr. Ladarius Walters, Ladarius is spelled Laderius. Walters' last name is common spelling. The defendant, the officer, or the victim, Mr. Walters, was holding down the defendant when the officer arrived. He was restraining him until the officer arrived. The officer detained the defendant in the back of the patrol car. At that time, the defendant told the officer that he was upset at Mr. Walters' mother for letting Mr. Walters live at the house because he felt as though he was too old, 30 years old, and should have his own place. So the defendant struck Mr. Walters in the face, leaving a bruise on his right cheek and a small laceration on his neck. When the officer spoke with Mr. Walters, he said he was in his room and he heard a commotion. And so he came out of the room. And as soon as he entered into the stairwell, that's when he was struck in the face by the defendant. And of course, again, as I said, he restrained him, the victim restrained the defendant until the officer got there. Your Honor, the state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Mr. Ladarius Walters. Stay away from that incident location if the victim is still living there. 1 day anger awareness and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. I believe our victim witness advocate spoke with the victim witness advocate spoke with the victim. And she didn't get clarity as to whether or not he is allowed back, but the state would object to the defendant being allowed back at that address again if the victim is still living there. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 66 years old, and that's been mentioned by pretrial services. He's had one incident that dates all the way back to 1988, which was an abandonment issue, no violence at all. My client's not prone to that, Your Honor. He's gainfully employed at the ACO service as a flagger for Enterprise, where he tells, when people bring their cars back, he tells them where to go. He's been in Georgia his entire life, the whole 66 years. Your Honor, valid driver's license. My client is nowhere near a person that's going to reoffend. Your Honor, like I said, he has he has great community ties. He gave me the telephone number of his daughter. He has 6 adult children. A stable address, Your Honor, telephone number. And at this point, it's just interesting that the state says, well, we didn't get clarity as to could he come back, because Your Honor, because he's not restricted from coming to this home. I think there should be no further violent contact if the complaining witness is still there, because he was staying there with the complaining witness's mother. So at this point, Your Honor, we're asking for a signature bond.
All right. So let me make sure for clarity's sake. So at this 3274 Seville Street Southwest, who resides there?
I believe that is the mother's home, but all of them live there, but that is the mother's home. So the victim's mother, which is the defendant's
not the defendant's
girlfriend.
mother. I'm sorry?
Which is the defendant's girlfriend.
Okay, victim's mother is defendant's girlfriend. Okay. And so, all right, I'm going to order a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. I'm going to order no further contact rather with this Ladarius Walters, but I'm torn about the stay away if that's where the defendant had been residing. And I think the state asked that he could reside there as long as the victim didn't reside there.
Yes, Your Honor, but as from what our victim witness advocate ascertained this morning, the victim does still live there.
All right.
That's why we're asking for no further violent contact, due to the fact that that's my client, 66 years old. That's where he stays. The complaining witness could be somebody that's in and out, but I would think no further violent contact would deal with the issue at this time. Like I said, my client has no history of violence at all in his criminal history. Matter of fact, he doesn't have really any history at all. And so at this point, we feel that the no further violent contact from the complaining witness would be appropriate and at this time.
Well, I'm concerned a little bit. This offense date was the 27th. That they've certainly been cooling down, but sending him right back into the situation where he could, end up back in jail. Not necessarily inclined to do. I'm okay with the signature bond through pre-trial for $3,000. But I guess, I really would like Mr. Jones to possibly go stay somewhere else until this can be sorted out.
My client is 66 years old. Trying to find and go stay somewhere else at this time is a little more problematic. So at this point, I just feel that the no further violent contest kind of resolves the whole situation. And like I said, he doesn't have a violent history at all. None at all.
I understand, but if this incident happened as alleged in this home because his girlfriend is allowing her son to come back and stay there, then she's going to have to pick between her boyfriend and her son and her child. Well, and I kind of know how that may go. So
I think that's the same situation, Your Honor. I mean, my client lives there.
Whose name is on the lease, Mr. Jones?
Mr. Jones?
Go ahead.
Rosalind Bromeo.
So your name is not on the lease?
No, ma'am.
Do you have somewhere else to go stay?
Yeah, I got somewhere to go.
Okay. I'm going to order a stay away from the 3274 Seville Street and no further violent contact with the victim, but certainly a stay away from that location.
Your Honor, can we also add the 1-day anger awareness and no alcohol, drugs, or weapon?
Sorry.
That was a part of the recommendation.
Yeah, I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, but I will not order the 1-day anger awareness. I won't do that, but just the no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Thank you.
Your Honor, and you're asking that my client stay away from the address?
Yes, his name is not on the lease. It sounds like that the victim still resides there. The victim is the girlfriend's son. And he stated that he has somewhere else to go stay while the bond is in place. And I think that will resolve this issue. And maybe by the time we come back for maybe a bond modification, if you can show that this victim does not live there any longer, then maybe it can be amended for him to go back to reside there. For right now, so that we can cool all this down, it's just another, as the 27th, today's the 29th. I would rather see Mr. Jones, since he can stay somewhere else, to do that, to make sure there's ample cooling off and that there will be no other incidents of violence in the interim.
Can you have a one-time for us items, Your Honor?
Yes, one-time police escort to get any personal belongings. Do not go back by yourself, Mr. Jones. Get a police escort to go back to get any personal belongings that you may need. All right? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't know what.
So that's it, right?
Through pre-trial or through the jail?
I'm sorry, that's pre-trial.
Pre-trial.
Yes, pre-trial.
All right, we're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks. Bye-bye. You'll be here tomorrow, Judge?
No, I will not.
Okay.
Hey, Ms. Champion.
Hi, Judge.
Good to see you.
Position number 1 is a $1,500 pretrial bond reset for the notice. Position number 2 is a $2,000 good.
But did you say pre-trial was a signature bond?
Oh, 1 was a signature bond, I thought.
Yeah.
What did you say, Ms. Champion?
It was a pretrial bond?
Yes, 1,500, right?
Yeah, that's what I had.
Yeah. Okay, what's number 2?
Number 2 is a $2,000 good bond reset SAP 811. Number 3 is a $3,500 pretrial bond reset further notice. Number 4 is a $5,000 good bond reset SAP 811. Number 5 is a total of a $4,000 pretrial bond reset to the 8/4 non-jail plea calendar
That's per judge, eh?
per judge.
Yes.
Number 6 is a total of a $4,000 split bond. It's going to be reset SAP 811. Number 7 is a $3,000 pretrial bond reset further notice. Number 8 is a total of a $3,000 good bond reset SAP 811. Number 9 will be reset further notice defendant made bond. And number 10.
I got 5,000 good.
Well, yes, $5,000 good bond reset SAP. Number 11 was a $2,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset further notice. Number 12 is a total of a $6,000 good bond reset SAP 811. Number 13 is a $3,000 good bond reset SAP 811.
All right. So
What was number 7 again?
Number 7 was a $3,000 pretrial bond.
Okay. That's it.
That's it. All
Any
minds
other questions?
clear? Anything else, Ms. Falk?
Can you just tell me what the reset date was on position 6?
Reset date's gonna be SAP 811.
8/11. Okay, thank you.
All the reset dates are 8/11. All right, and Ms. Champion, you have the consent order?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. All right, any other questions? All minds clear? All right, everyone, have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor.
Bye-bye. Take care.